going to start with a soup. We're going to make our M-Healthy Fiesta bean chili. That's one of Aramark's more popular M-Healthy soups here that we do throughout the entire health systems. If you've been around, you'll see that we serve it at the CVC, we serve it at the main cafe, we serve it at all the coffee kiosks. Pretty much anywhere that you see the M-Healthy soups, this is one of the fan favorites. So, and the beauty of it's vegetarian and it's super easy to do. So it starts with some onion. We'll just start to saute those. It starts with a little green pepper. And you can, by all means, add any vegetables that you might have at home to it. If you want to put some carrots into it, you want to put squash into it, go right ahead. You know, it's not any real strong, hard, fast rules that vegetables should be going in there. We're going to be sauteing in Owens Creek olive oil as well. One cool thing about this olive oil is it's from California. Olives are grown in California. And every bottle of this that's sold, actually, the owners are nice enough to donate $4 to the Cardiovascular Center right here at U of M, too. So the local distribution is from Zingerman's, another good partner of ours. So if you find yourself over on Detroit Street, please stop in and grab yourself a bottle, and you're helping out the Cardiovascular Center at the same time. So we'll just let the onions and the peppers get a little translucent. We're going to add some garlic to that. And we're starting with this as well because it's going to obviously take a little bit longer to make than our salad or our entree or our dessert. So we'll get it going, and then we'll just kind of set it off and let it simmer for a while. So as that's sauteing, we're going to do the sort of time warp thing too and skip ahead a little bit. A great idea to do is to add your spices before you add your moisture to anytime you're making a soup, especially a chili. You'll see on your recipes, I'm pretty sure you've got cumin, you've got black pepper, and then I think it says something about your favorite chili powder. Any chili powder is fine. Personally, I like some of the smokier varieties, the ancho, the chipotle, and I've got both. So we've got a little bit of ancho, a little chipotle, and then also just some standard Mexican-style chili powder that you might, find in any grocery store. We're going to add our cumin and then some black pepper. And then the nice thing about throwing that in before the moisture is in there is that it really starts to open up all those spices, and you probably actually might even start to smell it out there here shortly. So we're going to let that simmer for a little bit, and while that comes back and gets a little warm, so in with that goes some vegetable stock, and then also your tomato product. As far as tomato products concerned, go with canned. You don't need to necessarily make your grandmother's favorite recipe tomato sauces. If you want to, great, but it takes some time, And not always are you going to have the freshest tomatoes to work with. There's great companies out there that all they do is buy tomatoes when they're at their ripest from all over the world, and they make tomato sauce and they put it in a can so that we can have it to use at home. Why not take advantage of it? That's what I do. I mean, it's just easier. So we'll add our tomato, and then this is just diced tomato and tomato sauce. So we'll add that in there. Stir that around. And we're going to let this simmer for a little while as well so that it can reduce down. And at this point, you're pretty safe to put your beans in there and to put your corn in there. You don't want to put either of them in there before you get the moisture in there, otherwise you're taking the chance of them sticking to the pan, and burnt beans, nobody really likes that taste. Yuck. Smells even worse. So we'll get our corn in there. And you'll notice too that I did reserve a little bit of the vegetable stock and a little bit of the tomato product. That way you can adjust your consistency a little bit later. After we get all our beans and everything in there, if you find you want it a little bit thinner, you've still got some beef or some vegetable stock, and you've got some of the tomato product. So we'll get some beans in there. And as you can see, it looks like we're going to want it a little bit thinner.
Jay, can they substitute other beans?
Of course.
Recipe?
by all means. If you have cannellini beans sitting around in the closet, if you have, it doesn't matter. Any beans that you guys have, if you have baked beans, you could probably use those. I would recommend rinsing them off just to get some of the barbecue-y taste off there, but it's chili, throw it in there. So obviously as well, the longer it simmers, the better it's going to be. Just like any chili you've made at home before. The longer it goes, the more those spices open up, the better the flavors are all going to be. So we'll just let this continue to simmer. And I promise you that the chili that you get to try will have simmered a lot longer than this. One little trick you can do as well, most people have, if you're at home and you notice it's a little bit, maybe it's cold outside, you want it a little bit more stick to your ribs feeling to it. A lot of people have those immersion blenders. It's the little stick blender. We call it a boat motor in the kitchen. Plug it in, put it in there, just give it a few little taps and spin around with there. And what you're going to do is puree some of those beans. It's going to thicken it up, and it's going to give it a lot heartier feel. That's one of the tricks that we do in the cafe and at the other areas where you can get a ton of flavor and that good hearty feeling out of foods, but you don't have to put a ton of salt in there. You don't have to put a ton of fat in there. If you notice, there's in this much soup this would take me days to eat this. Probably a week to eat that. There's about a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more olive oil, and never once did I reach for the salt. So I think you'll find that when you taste that up there, it's not something that necessarily needs to have a whole bunch of salt added to it. Okay?